Your dream school could accept you because of your failures. In today's college essay ride-along, we'll be working on our inciting incident, the catalyst to the journey that you're telling in your college essay. It is often a failure. I'm Hillary, Division Supervisor at Vanguard College Prep, and I've assisted students in getting into schools like Cornell, UPenn, UC Berkeley, UCLA, among other top 20 schools. I'll show you examples from some of those accepted college essays, and we'll work on yours together. What is an inciting incident? As I mentioned, it's the catalyst to the journey that you are telling the college admissions officers about. It's what really starts your personal growth, your change, your internal change that Common App essay prompt is looking for, which, by the way, we have confirmation now that the Common App essay prompts are going to be the same ones as they were last year, so they are released for 24-25. Your inciting incident is going to answer the question, where are we now? And may return to the initial scene, maybe your hook. This inciting incident pushes the protagonist out of their comfort zone, and they encounter internal conflict. So you're going to be telling admissions officers about the moment that your change began. What kick-started your change? Remember, we've already written the hook, which grabs them and pulls them into your essay, and then we wrote the status quo, which explains where you started from. But then, when you go from that start to begin your journey, that is your inciting incident. You might be wondering why a failure works, why it may be best to write about a failure for your inciting incident. Well, often it is a failure that teaches us to grow and learn. It's not a bad thing to tell the admissions committee that you failed. It's actually a good thing, because then you show how you've grown from that, what you've accomplished, how you pulled yourself out of that failure, and those are good qualities to see in a college applicant. Here are some examples of failures that Vanguard students have written about. Then a loud pop. Our robot collided with our opponent and punctured its air tanks. My heart sunk. I realized our road to worlds had come to an end. This is a moment in a robotics essay where they were doing great. They were doing amazing. It looked like they were going to get into worlds for robotics. However, their robot collided with another one and it broke. How is she going to get to worlds, right? She's going to learn how to grow from this experience. She's going to have to, maybe she won't get to worlds, maybe she will, but either way, she's going to learn to make the robot better. She's going to learn to handle her emotions about this situation. The important thing is not whether you achieve the goal that you were trying to achieve in the beginning when you experience a failure. The important thing is that you grow from your failure. That's what the admissions committee wants to see. Here's another one. This one actually isn't a failure. I assume some of you will be writing about moments that weren't failures, right? You want to tell the admissions committee about something that happened to you, and you will have had an inciting incident. So in this inciting incident, it is actually the student encountering a coding course that kickstarts his journey to learn about Minecraft mods and thereby his own creativity. I played Minecraft since I was a child, but lately I realized it wasn't enough for me. Seeing YouTubers expand their horizons through modding, modifications to Minecraft that can add new features, made the game I'd played for years seem restricting and repetitive. They had dragons flying, dinosaurs shaking the earth, and basilisks demolishing entire villages. I wanted those possibilities, so I searched up tutorials on installing mods for myself. But before the video could play, a cheery voice on an ad showed me a new path. A coding course that would allow me to create my own mods instead of downloading other users. Within 10 seconds, I had 3 ideas I could create. Lightning from my hammer would make the sky look like broken glass. A lion's roar could be heard from hundreds of blocks away. But what my sights were really set on lurked in the darkness of the forest. A night enemy. So this starts his journey to create a mod of a new enemy for himself. Not a creeper, but a knight. So your inciting incident doesn't have to be a failure to be effective, but you shouldn't be afraid of making it a failure. Here's another one. You might remember this essay. That got into 3 different Ivy Leagues. It's where he was trying to stop the rats from attacking his tomatoes. Desperately, I launched an all-nighter stakeout. It was humid that night as I perched a flashlight at the exact angle to illuminate my tomato plants. I carefully placed a GoPro in the middle of the soil bed, making sure all action was monitored. My tomatoes were on full lockdown. My parents cautioned me to sleep early because I had school the next day, but I kept my priorities straight. I was watching the GoPro like a heron stalking its prey. In the end, everything was fruitless, especially my tomato plants. My resistance to nature was met by an equal and opposite force in my garden. I was baffled and dismayed. Why did nature proliferate so well only to be utterly destroyed later? What role did I play as a mere gardener in nature's grand unknown scheme? In this case, the student has to go on to find a new solution for his problem. This is a failure not because he did something wrong, but simply because what he was trying to do didn't work. I hope those examples have explained what an inciting incident is. Feel free to comment if you'd like some more explanation on it. We're gonna write our own now, and I'll give us 5 minutes to write it. But before that, I want you to take a moment to read through that hook and status quo that you've already written. If you haven't written them, go back and check out my other videos. 5-minute timer. Let's go. our time is up, but I'm not done. I don't think that was enough time. I'm gonna give us a couple more minutes. Okay, I'm done. If you're not, you can pause the video. I would love to hear what you wrote in the comments below. For now, I am going to share everything I've written up to this point because it all flows together. So the hook, the status quo, and the inciting incident that I've written. Reactive dogs are not aggressive. I pull back on the leash, my dog, Mr. Bingley, lunging toward a border collie walking by. He's having a harder time than I am, I remind myself as he barks incessantly at a woman walking on the asphalt path by our house. I adopted Mr. Bingley in 2020 at the height of COVID. He was incredibly sweet when we first met and continued to be loving and cuddly as he trusted me more and more. But 2 weeks after adoption, he began to react to strange humans and dogs. At first, it was barking at them as they walked by the house, then responding aggressively when he heard the metallic clank of our mailbox closing. By the time I graduated college and moved in with my sister, he couldn't watch a large dog walk on the other side of the street without throwing his 14-pound body against his collar, spitting doggy profanity. And here's the inciting incident. After researching aggressive dogs, I tried holding his leash short and tight while walking quickly by a trigger or a strange dog, but was afraid other dog owners would judge me as he growled and lunged as far as he could go. I took him to the dog park to better socialize him with other dogs, but he was scared by a big husky puppy who wouldn't leave him alone. One day, walking around the neighborhood, he pulled out of his too loose collar and ran across the street to bark at a black lab. I raced after him, calling, "Bingley, no, come!" as he ran within 3 feet of the dog, causing the woman walking him to jump backwards. My heart bounced out of my stomach with relief when he didn't attack the lab, opting instead to stand stiff-legged directly in front of the lab, barking fiercely. I was able to replace his collar, tightening it properly while apologizing for his behavior. Walking home, I knew my training philosophy had to change. That's my inciting incident. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I hope to see you again in 2 weeks when we work on the rising action portion of your essay.